Can you tell me what colour Coca-Cola is? What colour do you associate with Coca-Cola? I would be massively surprised if you couldn't, because colour is a huge part of how we recognise brands. It's one of the biggest tools that we have at our disposal when we're designing logos. Now, colour can increase brand recognition by up to 80%. Literally, if you see a logo for the first time, then 78% of you will remember the colour afterwards, compared to only 43% of you who will actually remember the name of the company. So when you're deciding what colours to use for your logo, it's worth knowing that these colours evoke emotions. There's all kinds of emotions wrapped up in how we perceive things and how we understand things. So when you're designing your logo and you want to choose a colour, choose very carefully, because if, for instance, yellow means positivity, red gets the pulse racing, blue is a colour that you can literally rely on, pink embodies femininity, and green is healthy. And we know these things. We don't need to be told these things. When we look at something, we assume them just from the colour. So don't choose a colour because it's your favourite colour. Don't choose a colour because it's fashionable. Because when you're designing your logo, you really want this logo to stand the test of time. You want it to stand on its own 2 feet and to really represent something about you, about your business. Also, it's a good idea to check out the competition, the people who will sit alongside you in your industry, your competitors, essentially. Now, it's good to make a conscious decision about whether you want to fit in or stand out. You know, there's arguments for both. So think about it and let that be a conscious decision that you make. So if you want to know more about colour and how that affects your brand and how it makes people feel and how to go about choosing this for your logo and for your brand, then go and check out my course, How to Design a Logo, on www.logolady.com. And yeah, I have a whole course, an online course that you can do at your own pace, that will help you to not only decide what colour is the best one to represent you, but how to go about designing your logo. I hope that helps, and I shall see you next week. Do you include the strapline or the tagline with your logo? No. No, I don't. I never do. And I always advise my customers or my clients not to add it on as a part of the logo. There's 2 reasons for this. The first reason being that your logo should be really simple. It should be as simple as it can be, because of the second reason, essentially, is that your logo needs to be flexible enough to use in every sort of situation that you need it to work in. If it needs to go down really, really small, this is where a tagline becomes illegible. You can't even read it. So it becomes unnecessary and actually unsightly. And it needs to work, your logo needs to work really, really big as well. And in that scenario, is it appropriate to have your tagline on there? I would always suggest that your tagline or your strapline, whichever you like to call it, it becomes part of your brand, but doesn't necessarily become part of your logo. So you can work out how it's going to sit with the logo in certain scenarios, but quite often you would see a tagline underneath the logo. So you've got your logo and you've got your tagline, and then as it goes smaller and smaller and smaller, you kind of lose it. And I think that most times, actually, for your website, for example, if you have your logo in the top left-hand corner and then your strapline sort of next to it in bigger writing, it just makes more sense. The tagline's more legible and the logo's bigger than if it had to be sitting on top. It just makes a lot more sense to split it. And yeah, that's what I always say. Just, yes, have a tagline, have your strapline, and use it consistently, as with everything else in your brand, so it becomes memorable and easily recognizable as yours. But yeah, it doesn't need to be attached permanently to your logo. Hope that helps. I shall see you next week.